Transformers Series 2 continues the previous Transformers comics, but with a totally different tone. If you haven't seen my first Transformer comic video discussing the series, I suggest you watch that one. Series 2 is all about being more edgy, with like the rule of cool. If it's cool, they throw it in, if that makes sense. Series 2 follows the Autobots, but mainly just Optimus Prime. This Prime is just like the last one, except for in this one, he seems to have a huge respect for Primus, where, as in the Series 1, he seemed to waver back and forth on his, trust of Primus. Megatron also returns, and he kills Bludgeon to be the leader again. This Megatron is Camo, and that's because he was repaired by Cobra. G.I. Joe and Cobra also make appearances, and if you want to hear me talk more about them, I have a whole video on that too. Megatron also has teeth in this one, and he is noticeably more insane than usual. Then there's Jhiaxus. I'm not sure how to pronounce this. A new character who is neither Autobot nor Decepticon, and believes he is superior to both of them, despite also being a Transformer. Now that's the easy way to explain it, but if you want the way the comic explains it, here you go. Shorn of its mystical trappings, it is a tale of evolution, one being Primus, becoming a race that could reconfigure their forms into machinery, vehicles, and weaponry. Cosmic guardians whose prime concern was the continued welfare of other races. But as we grew in number, replicating through processes similar to cell division, so the essential purity of our Creator's vision was distilled, until finally, in many new Transformers, it simply no longer existed. Chaos ruled, civil war threatened to destroy all we had striven so hard to achieve. At this point, some pre-encoded gene kicked into life in all Transformers, initiating a race-wide memory loss that was intended to end further growth. It didn't last. While we lay deactivated on Earth, a second generation arose. The process began again, spawning successive generations, and as a byproduct, a strange relation. One that grew in both size and awareness, and a kindred force that has now returned. Hope you understood all that. So it's kind of confusing, but point is, Jhiaxus, or whatever his name is, he's the leader of his own group, and he's very powerful. He beats both Optimus and Megatron, and the two are forced to band together to defeat him. Now this series is far, far shorter than any I've talked about so far. It got cancelled after only 12 issues. So it feels unfair for me to judge the story, as it didn't tell the story it had planned on telling, I'm assuming, because it only reached 12 issues. But most of the 12 issues deal with the three Transformer factions battling, and also the Swarm. I'll talk about the Swarm in 1 second, but first I want to bring up my favorite issue. Starscream gets the Matrix and becomes one with a giant spaceship, and he torments and attacks Prime and Megatron while they are inside him. It is so cool. It is definitely one of my must-reads. Anyway, the Matrix apparently tries to make Starscream be a good guy though, and he doesn't want to be, so he gives it up to Prime. And that is one of the dumbest things in this whole series. The Matrix made him want to be good. That didn't happen to Thunderwing. What the fuck? I think they just wrote themselves into a hole, and we're just like, well, I don't know how else to beat him. Anyway, back to the Swarm. It's a being that can rip apart Transformers and destroy them with ease. It's a bunch of little things, but with the hive mind of one being. Anyway, it gets brutal, and it also brutally kills Optimus. And how many times must he die? Optimus, during that time, briefly sees everything as he becomes one with the Swarm and can see all the Swarm sees. Then the Matrix kills Swarm and brings Optimus back to life. I don't know how that worked. The Matrix is basically a plot device to fix everything whenever the writers make the enemy too powerful. Like it beat Unicron, it beat Thunderwing, and now Starscream. And now the Swarm. Also, Jhiaxus. I wanted... Let me know how to pronounce his name in the comments, please. He dies to the Swarm. But we find out he was only working for someone. Someone named Liege Maximo. And just look at how fucking cool this dude is. This dude is so cool. I love everything about him. He's fucking huge. Look at how tiny the Transformer is by him. I'm guessing he would have been like one of the big bads, but the comic ends here. And we never get to see what he would have done. Which is real disappointing. In one D&D session I did, I had Liege Maximo in it because I just created a story for him and it's like, here, he's fucking in it. Because you can't have a character that cool and just have nothing happen. That sucks. Anyway, some of this art is real edgy and badass. And for the 12 issues this series ran, it wasn't too bad. Is it better than the first series? That's hard to say because it's only 12 issues. So I'm gonna say no. But I still enjoyed it. Anyway, go ahead and like my video, subscribe, and I will be having more comic videos as I continue to read comics. Thank you.